Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
It's a blessing to be in this position, and we're just thankful to be here. We're thankful to have the opportunity to go out there and play in front of the 12 man.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
The best part about preseason kickoff, Olin Buchanan, go.
David Nuño?
Yeah, I agree. No.
Billy Liucci?
No.
You better say yes.
I'm just asking your real opinion here.
The best part? Lunch? I don't know. The Mike Elko, or whoever the football coach is, which happens to be Elko, giving us the
skinny?
Yeah, the skinny.
I'm going to agree with you. Here's my thinking behind it. We just had Coach Elko for, 30 minutes in Atlanta, press conference setting. Mm-hmm. I had him for a few minutes after that. But when you get him in this setting, 45 minutes of a real conversation as opposed to what we saw in Atlanta was, wannabe journalists asking gotcha questions and everybody having their own kind of pivot point of what they want to. This is now a conversation that can build on the last point and continue. And it's 45 minutes of that. That's my favorite part of it.
Yeah. I just sounded like Elko right there. Yeah. Look, Elko's a smart guy. And, he knows. I think he understands with this fan base, you really can't BS them. They live and die with this program. They know what's going on. And, you want to hear what, as much as the coach is going to, it feels like he can share.
Right.
And he'll share as much as, it's safe to share. And, you want to know as much about the program. It's almost like your kids. I want to know everything about them, but there's always a little bit that they keep.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me that.
Secret,
yeah.
Your daughter's right over there. There's probably something.
There are certain things that she
says. There's one mystery out there.
I'm like, you don't have to tell me that. So here's my topic to start off the show.
All
right. It's an easy answer, but I want it to be a hard answer, okay?
Okay.
Who is the face of the SEC in 2025? Before you answer, I know the answer is probably somebody 90 miles down the road, but I want to go deeper. If you were to ask the SEC Network, ESPN, CBS, they would probably say Arch. But is it Arch? It used to be Nick Saban. It used to be the head coach, right?
Yeah, it used to be. I kind of think it's still, if you take Greg Sankey out of the mix, because quite frankly, with all the things that are going on politically in college football, he's getting a lot of press, as you would expect. But if you take him out of the mix, right now, I still think it's Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart's the face of the SEC. I'll agree with that. But if I make you pick a player.
Okay, if I have to pick a player. There's no doubt that probably he's getting the most media attention. Talk about Arch.
Yep.
But can the face of the most powerful college football conference in America, maybe ever, definitely ever, can the face of that conference be a guy that's never been a starter? If that ever was that, it was Tim Tebow.
Yep.
And yet, I'm sure Alabama had some players that were, if I went back and looked.
Well, let's define face of the SEC.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Like, he's going to get the most views, the most clicks, lead highlight shows,
Yeah, the problem is, maybe it's Lenora Sellers, even though I think a lot of people don't know Lenora Sellers unless you're really into SEC football.
If Lenora Sellers walked in here with 3 other guys, no uniform, would people know who he is?
If you're really into SEC football, you do. Maybe it's Garrett Nussmeier, but who's the big time. Who's the big time defensive player in the SEC this year? I mean,
Anthony Hill?
Maybe, but
Colin
how many
Simmons?
people? I can remember years where you knew you could have picked out certain guys. Glenn Dorsey at LSU, Rolando McClain at Alabama. You could pick out certain guys. Say, okay, that's. I don't know that there is that guy this year defensively. I think Ryan Williams.
He's definitely in the mix.
But he's a receiver, and receivers often. Usually running backs more identifiable than receivers because I guess there's so many of them. So to your point,
Probably
as
Arch.
much as it doesn't make sense, it might be Arch. And that's not a slight at Arch. That's just saying that it's hard for me to put my head around the idea that the premier college football conference in America, I know they haven't won a national championship.
Is it Arch or is it the last name?
Well, Arch and the last name.
If his last name was Arch Simpson and he had all the same accolades, would we be talking? Yes, we'd be talking about the Texas quarterback. I understand that. Maybe we wouldn't, but Quinn Ewers was a topic too. But would it be that? I
think the fact that he's a Manning
is why, right?
Yeah. And quite frankly, for as great as they've been, I don't think a Manning's ever won a conference championship in the SEC.
You're exactly right.
It's family tradition.
Let's hope it continues. So you cannot put John Mateer on that list.
No.
Right? I'm thinking, of course, as much as I love Marcel, he is not in the list.
No, if you're looking at a quarterback besides Arch, it's Lenora Sellers or Nussmeier.
Yeah.
Or DJ Lagway, because he's probably getting the second most.
Yeah.
He seems to get even more hype.
Who deserves more hype, Lagway or Arch, based on what they've done? It's Lagway.
Well, Lagway's played more.
Yeah. And won more.
Yeah. And quite frankly, he's started more games. Didn't Arch start 2 games? One against ULM and one against Mississippi State. He came against Georgia and didn't play that great. Of course, a lot of guys don't play great against Georgia.
Dylan Stewart's another name, by the way, we could have probably thrown out there, but I don't know if people know him.
No, I don't. He's that defensive end at South Carolina that was so good as a freshman.
Yeah.
He'll probably be really good this year. I wonder if he'll be as good without the supporting cast that he had last year.
If it were based on production, personality plays a part, right? But if it were based on production, it'd be Lenore Sellers or Nuss.
Yes.
And I would probably say Lenore's. Although Nuss is at a much more high-profile program.
It's true. But I think, and look, you know what? Garrett Nussmeier's a good kid. He's a good guy. And he's very likable. You know what I like about him most is he throws interceptions against Texas A&M. That's what I like about him most. But I think when I look at Lenora Sellers, I just think of him being more of a, obviously more of a running threat.
Yep.
And I think that's just what you have to have to be successful in college football now.
Now, this is going to morph into my other topic.
Okay. What's your other topic?
My other topic is if you could take Nico's production from 2024, we can kind of go through some of those numbers. If you could take Nico's production, and apply it to Marcel Reed in 2025, would you take it?
Well, no, because first of all, I don't want Marcel running out of bounds on 4th down in scoring territory to lose to Arkansas.
Right.
And secondly, did you know that Nico, I'm leaving on a jet plane threw for 300 yards just once last year? And I think it was in the season opener. And I think they were playing Charlotte.
See if I can find his game log here so we can go through it. He threw for
Chattanooga. He threw for 314 yards against Chattanooga, 3 touchdowns. That was his best game. He was less than 200 yards passing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. Yeah,
he didn't throw a lot of interceptions, right?
He threw 5. That's all.
Marcel threw 6.
Was it 6? Is that what it ended up?
15-6 last year.
Yeah.
1,800 yards passing for Marcel. Nico had a little bit more.
26-16.
Yeah, 26-16.
Played more.
Played more, yeah. Started a few more games.
He averaged, I don't want to see if it, I was going to say if it had an average per game. I don't see that, but.
He rushed for 364 yards, 3 rushing
Marcel had
touchdowns.
more than that.
Way more than that.
Marcel was around 500.
543 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's funny. They both have ties to Tennessee. You know this.
But if that's the season you get from him, does this team improve? If you get Nico numbers this year with the running game, because remember, Tennessee made the playoffs because of a strong defense and a strong running game.
Yeah, that's true. I
think I take it, even though I don't think it's that much better than he's already done.
Yeah, I expect better. Would I take it? You know why I wouldn't take it? Because I think Marcel Reed is going to put up better numbers than that.
I like the way you talk right now. Tell me
no, and I'm not just going to be pumping sunshine. I liked what I saw from the kid in really difficult situations. There are those that just completely dismiss the fact that this was a kid that wasn't even supposed to play.
Yep.
And and a whole offensive system was built around one guy with different skill sets. And having a whole year knowing you're the starting quarterback, and then you're getting all the first team reps and everything, the offense will be adjusted somewhat to your skill set. I just think that makes a big difference. Plus, he's got more experience now. So I expect him to have better numbers than Nico Amaliva had.
Okay. Do you expect the running game to be better than it was last year?
Well, I don't know if it'll be better, but I can't think of any. I mean, I think it might be. There's a good chance it will be, but I can't think of any reason to say it won't be as good.
And then I feel like we're doing a season preview right now based on this, but is the defense going to be better?
Well, I hope so. I can't say today that it'll be better. As we talked about yesterday, I can give you reasons why it might be better, and they're good reasons. Mm-hmm. But I remember back in 2013, Gabe and I were having this discussion about the offensive line, and I said, there's no way it's going to be better. You're not going to take Luke Jokel, the Allen Trophy winner, and Patrick Lewis off the offensive line and get better.
Yep.
So that'd be very disingenuous of me to say you're going to take Shamar Stewart and Nick Scorton and Shamar Turner off that defense and get better. But the wild card in all that is Elko. It's going to be more in charge of the defense. As we talked about yesterday, when Mike Elko was defensive coordinator here for 4 years, the defense was never rated lower than 32nd in the nation, and that was in his first year.
Right.
When he was, figuring out what he had. 2 years later, they were 9th in the nation in total. So the Elko influence and some of the guys they brought in through the transfer portal is the reason why it could be better.
Okay, I'm going to stay down this Nico track for a moment, okay?
Uh-huh.
Let's say you get Nico stats from Marcel, and the Aggies go 9-3. I want you to envision that.
Okay.
Marcel comes back next year. What would that do to your optimism at that position? Or would you still be in the same position of, I think he's going to be better? Like, where would you be with Marcel if that's the stats you get? They go 9-3, entering another year, which, by the way, you're probably replacing 3/5 of the offensive line, right?
Yeah.
Or
maybe,
it's not all.
Maybe 4 of the 5. Look, in my opinion, that typically, not always, Joe Burrow is a prime example against what I'm about to say. Typically, I think your best is your junior year, and that's who you're going to be. Mm-hmm. When you've been in a program 2 or 3 years, your stats might get a little better the next year, depending on who's around you and all those kind of things. I think once you're in a program for 3 years, you've become who you're going to be. That's why so many guys leave after their junior year.
Yep.
Because they're at their best. Now, I can tell you other quarterbacks. I mentioned Joe Burrow that continue to get better, and I think that Marcel will continue to get better. As I see it today, and I hate to be next year Buchanan, but today, if I project it ahead, Marcel might be better, but his numbers
May not be
because he may lose 4 starters in the offensive line. Le'Veon Moss won't be there. KC Concepcion probably won't be there. You need to be good this year.
Yeah, let's go back to this year Nuño and this year Buchanan because that you just depressed me. So this year has to be a step in the right direction. In fact,
now other guys will step up next year. But I like to base my forecast on proven guys.
I agree.
So I think I've said it all offseason. I think the offense is going to be really explosive this year. Colin Klein has things to prove, and I think he will. I think the offense is going to be explosive and exciting. They're going to average 35 points a game. If Elko puts a defense out there that's anything resembling what he typically has done, it could be a really good year for A&M.
What did I see yesterday? North Carolina thinking about joining the SEC was from a Tar Heel report. It wasn't national reports, right? And then I think they lumped in Duke. That won't happen, right? They won't take both, would they?
I wouldn't. I'd want if I was the SEC, I'd want North Carolina bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a state university in a very populated state, and they actually have a pretty decent football program. And of course, we all know about basketball, and I think they're pretty good in baseball too. So, I mean, that would be the crown jewel of what's left out there, aside from Notre Dame, And I think eventually Notre Dame, it may be 20 years from now, but I think eventually they'll finally cave and join the Big Ten.
Yeah, and you don't see Clemson joining the SEC, right?
I think when they can, if the SEC wants them, I think the SEC. I could see a super conference. When it becomes 20 teams in both conferences, I could see. What I would envision is the SEC someday adding Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and Virginia or Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I could see that. And the reason I bring it up, is because we're talking about Elko, the defense he's brought up. I thought of Duke, and it kind of brought me there because I saw a tweet that said maybe North Carolina and Duke. I don't know if that was from official reports. But it's interesting because just a couple of days ago, I forget which guest I had on the show, I was like, it's kind of been a quiet offseason when it comes to expansion. I mean, I don't consider the Pac-2 adding
Texas State.
I just don't consider that big news.
Eat them up, cats.
But that being said, the timing's usually right around July, August, where we start talking about expansion. And here you go, another report with North Carolina this time leading the pack.
Again, North Carolina makes perfect sense to me. That's a good athletic program. Again, they kind of run the ACC.
Yeah.
I mean, they run it so much. Florida State and Clemson been wanting to get out for years. Florida State had a chance 30 years ago. They were offered a membership, and the SEC and Bobby Bowden turned it down. So it might be too tough to win there.
Yeah, I just
Things
think
have changed.
They should just add Miami. Just make it easy.
I think you need to stay away from private schools. That's why I wouldn't do it with Duke.
Agreed.
Plus, they don't play very good football.
By the way,
have you ever been to Keenan Stadium in
Never.
North Carolina? It's nice.
It's
a nice stadium. Very pretty.
This is TexAgs Live.
Yeah, it is.
We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Yeah, we are.
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Oh, Jason Rollo and the boys.
We'll see them this weekend at the preseason kickoff. We call this hour the Go Hour.
The Go Hour.
Yeah.
CC Creations, the warehouse, they bring it to you as the Go Hour.
They do. And typically, when we're not wearing shorts, we're hanging out over there.
It's my fault. Yeah, we typically are over in the holistic planning cool zone.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit too cool today. I'm wearing shorts. Now, what I do, I wear shorts every day, but I usually have a pair of jeans that I keep here. And I'm getting kind of old and feeble, right? I couldn't find my jeans today because I thought I had them here at the office.
I considered wearing shorts today. I considered it. There was a moment I was like, I might wear shorts.
So there's a rule, a TexAgs rule, that we're not to.
Nobody wants to see your hairy legs,
especially my bony ones. And so that's why we're not over there. We brought the cool zone over here instead of going over there to the cool zone.
Let's go around the room and say hi to the people real quick, shall we? If you want to be a part of the conversation, 979-693-1150. That's the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Behind the glass is Cade Bickham. Chaos Cade. What up, buddy?
What's going on, y'all? How are y'all doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. May I interest you in some baseball news?
Okay.
Okay, so yesterday I was following there was kind of a Brandon Garcia saga. So he got called up earlier this week to the Seattle Mariners. He had a couple appearances, got optioned back down to AAA yesterday, and then late in the evening last night, he was part of a trade to the Arizona Diamondbacks, in which the Mariners got Josh Naylor, and he was sent to the Diamondbacks, and then he got optioned to AAA for the Diamondbacks after that. So just quite a saga there for Brandon Garcia.
What a day!
Wow, what a week!
I know this. When he makes it to the majors, personally, I'd rather be in Phoenix than I would rather be in Seattle.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I went to Seattle a year ago.
Yeah,
hated it.
Yeah, if you like rain and fog and
rain
and more rain and
fog.
I guess if you like a lot of coffee, that's your place.
Well, there is that. Should we go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center? We'll wait. Why don't we do it? Because we're already.
Yeah, let's take a break. And
let's take a break. All right, it's Friday, so this is a true story. Morgan, my guy at Rollo Insurance, called me yesterday, and he's like, "It's time for our preseason lunch," because we always do a preseason lunch, right, where we talk football, we talk life, and you know where we go?
Yeah,
this is a fact.
Yeah, 1775. I've been there with Morgan.
First time I ever went to 1775 was
with Morgan.
Morgan, that's right.
Yeah,
Morgan, Dalton, Nuño. What a conversation.
With Dalton was there.
Yeah,
man. I bet a lot of barbecue was consumed there, especially.
Well, I think I had the most of the
really.
Group. Yeah,
man, that's an upset right there.
Buddy, I eat more than you. That's a fact.
Huh? I don't know if it is, but I would like.
Well, actually, I take that back. We went to have a steak. What city were we in? Atlanta, and a friend of mine, I won't say who it was, finished his steak.
Yeah,
and then finished somebody else's steak.
Almost finished it.
Almost.
Yeah.
Mine was a 22-ouncer.
Yeah.
What was yours?
I just had a 12-ounce.
And then a follow-up
filet
12.
mignon, and then another probably 8. So you still had more ounces than I did. But you know what?
If you were to have an ounce.
If I was at 1775, I would probably eat myself into a coma.
Yeah. We're giving them a compliment, but it's all like, when you go there, you're not going to be able to be like, I'm just going to have like chips, they say, you can't have just one. You can't have just one rib. You can't just have one brisket. You have to have it all.
And when we were in Atlanta, I was just eating steak. When I'm at 1775, I can have the brisket. I can have the sausage. I can have the pork ribs. I can have the turkey. They even have the pork. And then, of course, I can always have that amazing queso mac and cheese.
Ay, qué rico está eso. 1775 Texas Barbecue. They keep things exciting. Mouth-watering weekly specials. Check it out, 1775txbbq.com, or call them up, 979-492-6241. Hey everyone, David Nuño and Olin Buchanan and OB. Typically, we start off the show in this section, and we call it the Holistic Planning Cool
The cool zone, yeah. It's pretty cool.
What do we know about holistic planning?
Well, a lot of cool stuff. For instance, holistic planning can help you with your investments.
I love that.
They can help you with your taxes. So
I don't like paying taxes.
You can get that money from your investments and they keep it. They'll help you keep it away from the government.
Yep.
Not all of it, but more of it. And then they'll even help you with your estate planning. When you're old like me, you got to make sure some of that money you made is there for when you want to retire and just enjoy the rest of your life.
You want your estate to be planned. But they also do something else.
Yeah, well, if you are, like, say, a sports fan, and you've always wanted to...
Everybody watching us, right?
Yeah. And you want to always dream of being an owner, well, in a certain way you can, because they will broker the deal for you to invest in pro sports.
Yeah, what you need to do is check out investinprosports.com. That's where you can get all the information if you want to invest in a team. I don't know what team. He'd probably try to buy the Cowboys. I'd try to buy a lot of the Houston teams. Whatever it may be, investinprosports.com. It is holistic planning, and we love hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and it's still the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We were corrected during the break, OB. Peyton Manning did win the SEC. 1997, they beat Auburn 30-29 in the SEC championship game.
Okay.
I thought the same thing. I feel like...
I guess I'm keep thinking about how they never could beat Florida.
Yeah.
And then they won the national championship the year after he left with T. Martin as quarterback. But it's okay. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
And, it's fine. I like the Mannings, actually. I really like that family.
I do, too.
I've interviewed all of them except for, I guess I've even asked a question to I've asked questions to Peyton. I had a phone interview one time with Eli when I was working on Austin. Arch in my job before, Archie. And they're always very just fun and...
As happens with me, and I don't know if this happens to our audience, probably not with you, OB, but there's certain people that I like after their career that I wish I liked during their career. I was on Team Tom Brady, so I didn't like Peyton, and also the Texans played Peyton Manning all the time.
Well, can you be on why can't you be on Team Tom Brady and still like Peyton?
I think you can if you were smart, but I'm not. And secondly, I was an AFC South guy, so we had to take on. He was okay. You know that I love Kobe now, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday my kids were making fun of me. I was watching Mamba Mentality quotes on Instagram for like 9 minutes because I love, and I think I even posted something because I'm a weirdo. But during his playing days, for most of his career, I was very anti-Kobe. Very anti-Kobe.
I know what you mean.
Larry Bird was very anti-Larry Bird during his playing days.
I was too.
I love the dude now.
Yeah.
Right?
I wish I'd appreciated him more when he was actually playing. But exactly. I was a Lakers fan.
And I was a Texans fan.
I was actually a Magic fan, but okay.
So I didn't like Peyton because he was so good. And also, I was more on Team Brady. And it's kind of like if you're a LeBron guy or a Michael guy, it's Michael. It ain't even close. By the way, it's Kobe for me. But
I voted for Peyton to win the Heisman the year he didn't win it. I voted for him instead of Charles Woodson, and I would have done it again. And everybody, the big knock on him was, well, he never beat Florida. I'm like, no, Tennessee never beat Florida. They didn't lose those games because of Peyton Manning.
Right.
And I never understand that argument.
Right.
That you're going to base your thought on an individual award by a team result.
I also think that Peyton showed his personality so much more after his playing days, that he was funny. He was like a lot. I think he was kind of dry as a player, other than he called him the idiot kicker.
Yeah, that was great.
Vanderjack, I think it was.
Vanderjack.
But now, I'm like, that guy's great. Everything about even Eli, everything. They're funny. They're good. They're good for the sport. They're good commentary.
Well, I just hope Peyton remains the only Manning to win a championship.
I agree. At least for now. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We're late for a break, but poor Amory Heath. She tried to talk at 8:05. She tried to talk at 8:10 or 8:18, and I just went, I was yapping, so I apologize.
Kind of like you're doing now.
Actually, we got to hit a break. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, well, Sam says, is UT's schedule actually harder this year? If they go 9-3, it would mean they most likely only beat one team that won 8 games or more from last year. Or more from last year.
Is it saying UT? Is that what it's saying?
Yes.
Okay.
They said TU.
I think Texas has a harder schedule this year, OB, for a couple of reasons. They got Ohio State on their schedule. Regardless of what you think about Ohio, my opinion of Michigan last year at this point was low, and it turned out to be correct. My opinion of Ohio State this year is higher than it was for Michigan last year. That's harder. I think Florida is obviously a harder test than it was a year ago.
And you got to go there.
You got to go there.
You got to go to Georgia.
You got to go to Georgia. So, yes, I think their schedule is harder. It's still not the SEC West schedule that I always talk about.
You're right.
But it's very hard, right? I'm not going to say if they go 10-2, 11-1 this year, they've earned it. If Florida ends up being the team that we've talked about.
A lot of teams on their schedule that they're still going to be favored to beat, that they beat last year, at least project to be better. I'm thinking Oklahoma, for instance. Oklahoma should be better.
I still think Texas wins that game.
I do too, but it's still going to be at least a little more difficult than it was last year.
Actually, I don't. Maybe that was one of my. I went through their schedule and I kind of talked about it on the air one day this week. That might have been the game that I had as a maybe loss for them. No, I think I had Florida. I think I had Florida as the maybe loss.
Anytime you look at a rivalry game,
Yeah.
it's a maybe loss, but doubtful.
Let's get one more for Ambry Heath, and then, we still got to do 25 and 25 from them. Go ahead.
Yeah, the tennis team, after winning their fourth straight SEC title and extending their home win to a 72 matches streak, the Aggies women's tennis team posted a 3.376 GPA for the year and earned ITA All Academic Team honors and had 5 players named ITA Scholar Athletes.
Awesome stuff. We'll see the Dreamweaver this weekend. He'll be on the coaches panel. Believe it or not, we talked to
You mean
coaches.
tomorrow?
Yeah. Is that what I say this weekend?
It's this weekend. But
It is still.
it is this weekend.
It is, but it's tomorrow.
But it's also tomorrow.
Did you know that I interview coaches on TexAgs?
No, I never heard that. I think one time another coach said suggested you did not. Of course you do. All the coaches.
They are my friends, and they are your friends as well. And you know who else is your friend?
Who?
Milliken Reserve. If it was a person, it would be your friend, OB.
Yeah.
Remember about 3 years, it's been 3 years. Ambry hasn't seen this. She's got to see this. You would mimic sounds of the animals
I
we
would.
find.
Yeah.
There was some hard, I don't know what a songbird would sound like. Okay. What about a rabbit?
Does a rabbit make a noise? Well, you did that very well.
Thank you very much. Turtles?
Turtles? Snap? I don't know. Does it snapping turtle? I don't know. Turtle ever make a noise?
There are no. Okay, rooster.
Oh, that do it.
I think he used to do this also for mascots. So let's just say a razorback, a piggy. Okay. Oh, wow, you kept on going. What happens when it gets slaughtered? Milliken Reserve. They have animals there. They don't have those kind of animals there, but they do have the songbirds.
You
can go
might
hiking.
find some wild hogs out there. They're everywhere.
If you go hiking, you'll be safe.
Send Edrin Cooper after them.
Yeah, there you go. You can go biking, canoeing, kayaking, you name it. MillikenReserve.com, MillikenReserve.com.
Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olson wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it.
sing it out loud.
Now.
TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That is at 10:50, but right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Olin, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're going to do a quick hitter because Billy's going to be in here shortly, or not shortly, in about an hour and a half or so. 25 and 25, presented by La Casa Tequila.
See.
Raised in Aggieland, rooted in the SEC.
Nice.
Number 21 on the list is
Marco Jones.
Bro, if spring games could talk.
Yeah, well, they can.
They can't talk.
You just don't know if you can believe them.
But I believe I saw something.
Well, you saw a guy had 4 or 5 sacks in the spring game. Lot of athletic ability with that young man. Obviously, we're projecting what he could be, but he gave you at least a glimpse of what he could be in the spring game, and it was amazing.
I project we're going to see more of him than at some point this season. I don't know when that's going to be. That's what I project.
Oh, probably in the first game.
Let's hope. All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ambry, the texts have been coming in. What? What's
Nothing.
up? Okay, you sure?
Mm-hmm.
You want to do it? You want to do a text?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. You don't have the text machine open, do you?
Do what?
You don't have the text machine open, do you?
No, I had mine open.
Rob from Dudley's Draw. How is Revley doing? Actually, I don't know the latest on that.
Doing well. You know, they removed her eye to clean her up, you know, and I think she had glaucoma.
Mm-hmm.
And for everything I read, is she's doing great.
Yep.
And so
that's good to hear.
That is good to hear. I like that dog.
Yeah.
I like all dogs, but I really like that one. One of my favorite part of the opening of the game is seeing Revley go running down the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like dogs.
Here's one, and this is funny. I did not put this as the name on. So our text group has names of, if your name is Sam, your name pops up as Sam, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
This one's label says, he uses 2 names and 2 cities. Do not read, but I'm going to read it.
Oh,
I didn't write that, okay? Halfway through the season, the face of the SEC will be Le'Veon Moss.
You know, I don't know if he'll be the face, but I know he likes to run through his foe's face.
This is true.
He told me so.
What an all-time quote, my friend.
Yes, it was.
And then Tony in Lexington, the face of the SEC. He puts an LOL, but he means it. Lane Kiffin.
Okay. All right. Is Lane starting to gravitate back to being somewhat likable?
I think he's always been likable as long as you keep my name out your mother mouth.
Okay, Le'Veon.
I was more thinking of Will Smith.
Okay.
Jada Pinkett and good old Chris Rock. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
as long as he's not
talking about A&M.
Yeah.
I think he's obviously
a really good football coach.
Very good offensive coach. I think that he's funny. I think he is socially awkward at the same time. There's certain things about him that I think his chemistry with Paul Feinbaum is hilarious, and it seems unplanned. If you talk to Paul, you talk to Lane. I've never talked to Lane. It seems unplanned. So there's a lot to like from a theater perspective. If you just want to watch characters in a play.
Do you ever get the feeling every time Lane comes up to talk, it seems like he just got out of bed like 5 minutes ago?
Yep. His social media personality is a lot wittier than press conference personality, but his conference personality is interesting. It's not bad.
Yeah, you know, he's lost his mom and his dad in the last 2 years. I think you see, you know, Dad having an obvious impact on just the way he seems to be carrying himself, and I think he mend fences with his ex-wife, and now she may be his current wife again or something. But you know, I think he's finally maturing.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's got to find somebody to go after. I think the Hugh Freeze thing, I think they're friends. I don't think that's a real rivalry. I think they just kind of...
Probably had a lot in common.
Maybe so. But there isn't Jimbo that he obviously had a... And I think more of that was because he was such a Nick Saban guy. That's why he went after Jimbo.
Probably.
By the way, yesterday we had Bryce Anderson on 25 and 25.
Yeah. And
he and Kiffin have a little history.
Yeah. And I think Bryce should have, well, no, he shouldn't have, fired back at him, but he didn't. He did the right thing. He was, at that time, probably a 19-year-old kid who showed more maturity than Lane.
The reason I wanted to bring that up is it was brought to my attention by Kay Nagley that yesterday, if you remember, I wore my duck camp long sleeve camo.
The camo look.
Good look, right, for Bryce Anderson. I think I've worn that on the show 2, maybe 3 times.
Okay.
You know the last time I wore it?
Yesterday.
Before that?
Oh, no.
It was on 24 and 24 Bryce Anderson Day.
Oh, how about that?
Isn't that weird?
How would Kay know that?
Well, I think somebody...
Is she stalking you?
I think so. No, somebody stalked on the message boards, and she saw it and got a chuckle and brought it to my attention.
That is funny.
So, yeah, that is weird that I don't wear that very often, and I wore it a year ago on Bryce Anderson Day.
Bryce Anderson Day. Huh. Interesting.
Maybe one day if he gets drafted in the NFL or 26 and 26, he gets an opportunity.
Maybe so.
Let's bank on something, even though there's nothing to bank on the other side. Sound good?
Okay.
Right now, Rollo Insurance, decisions shouldn't be made in 15 minutes when it comes to your insurance future. Rollo Insurance, they have a team that provides objective consultation across all their insurance lines available in Texas and beyond. Join thousands of Aggies who trust Rollo with protecting what matters most. When local matters hit home, you want somebody you can trust, like severe weather or regional economic shifts. The Rollo agents understand the impact firsthand because they live here too, and their independence means they can recommend solutions from dozens of carriers based on what's best for you, not what is profitable for them. That's why so many local families and businesses make Rollo their first call. The difference is real. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO. Or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. You think OB's being funnier today than usual?
Like, for the time when I'm in here, yes.
So what you're saying is usually not funny.
No, I said funnier than usual.
Because of the animal noises.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Okay, and who set him up for that?
Okay.
So you've got to learn to distribute the credit properly.
No.
All right, it's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Got a text from my buddy Philip. I brought him up before. We went to lunch yesterday, and I'm glad he texted me because it reminded me of something I wanted to talk about. But he wanted me to tell you that he has witnessed firsthand the way I throw down food.
Really?
We went to a wings place in the area, okay?
Did you order broccoli?
No, I didn't order broccoli, bro.
Oh, you have before.
I had broccoli as soon as I got home. And asparagus. Anyway, I had 15 wings.
15 wings.
Okay. And I had 2 cheese sticks.
Amateur.
For a lunch?
That's an appetizer for me.
Bro, no.
That used to be. You know what? You want to see
back
somebody...
in high school when I used to bench for 500.
You want to see somebody eat, go with Browninger.
That's a different weight class, bro.
Well, that's for sure.
You know, like
I've seen Browninger.
I'm in the lightweight range.
I've seen Browninger order 2 meals, and eat 2 meals in one. It's like a cert. He's 2 meals in one. You remember that commercial?
Yeah. So hey, let me read this real quick. This is great. After you come to a preseason kickoff, Saturday, July 26th, the Brazos Valley Bombers are honoring Casey Whitmer, a former Bombers pitcher and College Station native. Casey died of cancer at the age of 35 a couple years ago on the 26th. In his honor, Casey's family has set up the Full Count Casey Whitmer Foundation, which is dedicated to supporting families navigating challenges by providing assistance with non-medical expenses. The family would greatly appreciate your attendance at the game or any donation you're willing to make. They are on Venmo at Full Count Foundation, or you can email them, fullcountfoundation@gmail.com, to drop off a check. By the way, there's some cool things going on there. Tickets to the game, kids 3 to 12 play all night with all access kids zone, grilled hamburgers and all beef hot dogs, 2 premium sides included, bottled water and soft drinks. That's again on Saturday. Gates open at 6:05. OB, let's bank on something presented by Vera Bank.
There's not a whole lot going on.
There's nothing going on.
So I'm banking on, if you'll go to the preseason kickoff, you're going to have a great time. You can bank on that.
Yep.
I'm banking on. I'm projecting here. I'm banking on that the volleyball team is going to make a run at the national championship this year. I'm really looking forward to going out and watching those young ladies play.
So tomorrow,
I got into it last year in the playoffs.
Tomorrow, when I am talking to Jamie Morrison, I think I need to tell him that. I'm going to say, Olin Buchanan, because the reason I'm saying this to you is, when Jamie got here, his vision, and I know it still is, was to grow volleyball into a sport that people who don't usually watch it want to watch it. That was his goal. You were exactly what his goal was.
Right. My niece played volleyball in those travel teams, and we went even to Las Vegas right? and watched her play and everything. And so you're watching it at that time because you have an interest in someone playing. Right. And then I told you the story last year. My wife's Christmas party was at Walk-Ons. And A&M was playing, I think, Wisconsin. And I didn't even know some of the rules. And I'm watching, I'm like, this game is fast, and I couldn't do it. You gotta time your jump as the ball coming down. My hand would be in the net, and I'd choke myself in the net. And it was so precise and so fast. I thought it was fun. It was exciting. I'm gonna go to a lot of the games this year.
I'm embarrassed to say this, but I learned recently that you can use your feet in volleyball.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
I didn't know that.
Anything?
Yeah,
it's like you should like that because soccer and all.
Yeah, I had no. I don't know why I didn't know. I think I've seen it, but I just didn't. It didn't register.
Go watch volleyball this year. I'm going to.
All right. You know what, OB? Since we didn't get to everything I wanted to talk about, we're gonna do EOB.
EOB.
Extended Olin Buchanan.
All right.
I probably should have used a different word.
Extend me.
No, please don't. Oh, gosh. On that note.
It's OT for OB.
There we go. OT for OB. Who's got, never mind. We'll be back. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. OB hanging around for an extended OB session here on the program. All right, Mr. Buchanan.
Yeah.
Now that the laughter is out of it, there's a couple of topics I wanted to get into in the first hour that we did not get into, and now my notes aren't populating the way I want them to. But did you see the story about the messages between the former Memphis safety and the UTSA quarterback? Did you see that?
No, tell me about it.
All right. So Tiger Sports Report.
Okay.
That
would be up in Memphis.
Reported that multiple sources alleged that Memphis safety at the time, Taj Rael, leaked elements of Memphis's defensive playbook to UTSA ahead of that game last year, November 2nd. A game where the Roadrunners won 44-36, okay? And they posted some of the direct messages where Rael, Cal-El's cousin, said that sent it to Olin Buchanan. We all know who Olin Buchanan is, their quarterback. And you can see the messages between them, like, hey, this is what they do on the left side of the screen. I don't have the DMs in front of me.
That's awful.
He had noticed that a weak link in the Memphis defense with injured safety Cortland Marsh, who, when healthy, started ahead of Rael. And by the way, a former player from the 2024 squad said, we were on the field, this is according to the report on Tiger, and their offense had a check for every single one of our defensive checks. And Tiger Bates also says that Rael was made aware of the claims against him, but declined to comment. Also, he's at Purdue now. Purdue says that our coaching staff sees the scenario as being mischaracterized, does not have any concerns moving forward. But it seems like a lot of people can get in trouble for this. Or can you?
I don't know. Now, if he bet on the game, obviously,
Can McCown get in trouble for receiving information?
I don't know. I mean, if someone's giving you information, why wouldn't you take it, right? Is it unethical? Yeah.
Yes.
Is it illegal? I don't know. There was a old story about Mike Leach when he was an assistant at Oklahoma, dropping a paper that had all this Oklahoma offensive information on the floor of the Cotton Bowl, and a Texas assistant coach picked it up, and they went and looked. Apparently, hey, this is what we're going to do, except that Leach put all kinds of erroneous stuff on purposely. So then nothing happened there. So I don't know. I really don't know. I do know this. If there's any truth to that, if I was at a Purdue coach, because they're saying, we don't think I'd be keeping a close eye on him.
Yeah.
Especially when they're playing Indiana in that big Old Oaken bucket game. That means so much.
Could you imagine, though, like in today's world of transfer portal and people thought they were going to be starters and they go elsewhere, they're like, hey, this is how you... And he was on the roster when this happened. This wasn't after...
I know, that's the kind of thing, if it came out while you're on the team, you'd probably get assaulted. But as far as leaving one team and for another and helping them if you're playing, I can remember the story that, do you remember in the 2013 championship game when Florida State won it, but Auburn dominated the first half, and then it turned out that Damian Craig was on the Auburn staff, had been on Florida State, and they were saying, hey, what's going on? I said, well, Coach Craig knows all of our checks, so at halftime they had to change all their...
That's right. That's normal sports.
This is abnormal, but again, I'm just saying that when you change teams, you're going to, whatever information you can, you're going to help the other team if you play the team that which you came from. That, though, you're actually on the team, and I don't know, again, it's unethical. I don't know if it's illegal unless, now if they ever came out that there was a bet involved, obviously we know that would be a huge thing, but I don't know. I have to plead ignorance on this one.
Ambry, who said that I'm a boomer or almost a boomer?
I saw it in the YouTube chat.
How is that possible? Like, I recognize I'm almost AARP. I get it, but boomers are World War II, right?
My son went through a period in high school when every time I'd said something, he'd say, "Okay, boomer," and I'm like,
"It was BTTS."
I like BTTS.
Yeah,
I'm not almost a boomer.
Oatman said, "Is Nuño ask Nuño?"
How often do you
fired?
Is Nuño asking for credit for a joke setup? And then BTTS said he's almost a boomer. Got to give him a pass.
Omer Sabu. Okay, I wasn't
were
even
you
born
born
to
to be a
Vietnam. Huh?
When were you born to be? What year?
Post World War II.
Well, post World War II is now.
Then you're a boomer.
Me?
Yeah, post World War II. And that's, I think it's rarely as quickly after World War II.
Huh. Well,
I was born after Vietnam. That makes me.
I was born after Korea, and maybe, I don't even know, were we involved in Vietnam yet in 61? Probably had some things going on.
The baby boomers is like, I'm pretty sure it's like the 15 to 20 years after World War II. So like 45 to 60
so I fall
something.
in there.
Boomer. See, your son wasn't lying. Way to go, Quinn.
Huh.
Am I the hippie generation? No, hippies were before me.
1946 and 1964, Sam Menz says.
What is 1976?
You were born in 76.
Gen X, you're Gen X.
Yeah, I know I'm Gen X, but like, is that the only nickname? That's it. I'm Gen X. There you go. MTV. I grew up on MTV and stuff.
I was in the 8th grade in 76.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He said he was joking, but it must be true. Probably because of how like angry you're getting.
I'm not angry. I'm just making a point. You wouldn't want to see me when I'm angry.
Yeah.
Where's that from? Obie, tell
her. That is from the Hulk.
David Banner at the time, not Bruce Banner.
Not Bruce Banner?
He was David
Why
Banner.
did he change
on that
his
show.
name?
Because I'll tell you at the break. There's actually a story behind it. Anyway, Bill Connolly has this breakdown on SEC, and it's an SEC preview. I'm gonna read you this line. I want you to guess. Okay. Who was the best freshman quarterback in the SEC last year per total QBR?
Oh.
If you had to guess.
I got to think of who the freshman quarterbacks were per Stockton. I don't know. Marcel.
Yes, it was. It says here, it wasn't Lenore Sellers. It wasn't DJ
I didn't know if you
Lagway.
mean red shirt freshman or freshman.
Yeah, you can include that. It wasn't Michael Van Buren or Michael Hawkins Jr. either. Who was the best freshman quarterback in the SEC last year per total QBR? Marcel Reed.
Yeah, I think he's going to be better. I really do. Now, if he is, I said it all last year that I thought there was going to be a big year for Connor Wigman, and I was wrong. Now, part of it was he was hurt, but still, he had a really good game against Missouri. But other than that, I thought he underperformed. I think he'll be a really good quarterback for UH, and so I've been known to be wrong, but I do think that you're going to see a really good year from Marcel Reed.
It goes on to talk about the running game. The running game will be absolutely dynamite with Reed and seniors Amari Daniels, Le'Veon Moss, who combined for 1,426 yards, 18 touchdowns last year, and sophomore Reuben Owens running behind an enormous line that returns last year's top 5 who are seniors, average size 6'6", 333 pounds. A&M will absolutely maul opponents that don't have a good enough defensive front.
Yeah, top 7, I think, come back on the offensive line.
Yeah.
You consider Naboo's coming back, so you got Naboo and Coley. And then I was thinking about Fathery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
good and deep.
It says defensively, all or nothing unit that stopped 39% of its plays at behind the line of scrimmage, 8th nationally, but struggled it with big plays, allowing 119th in yards per successful play.
I think I saw that A&M gave up the 3rd most, or maybe the 2nd most plays of 20 yards or more, or 30 yards or more last year. It's got to be cut down.
It says pass rush upgrades, added transfer Dayon Hayes from Colorado, TJ Searcy, Sam Mpemba, Georgia to improve sack production after ranking just 85th, despite having NFL draft picks.
Yeah, that's the one thing that we talk about. Yeah, A&M has these 3 guys that you got to replace. But were they as productive? Now look, Shamar Stewart. The more I watch him, I go back and
you watch.
I get it. He didn't get the sack numbers, but if you'll watch, so a lot of times he created the sack that somebody else got, and he just was chasing plays all over you. You'd run away from him, he'd run you down. So you see the athleticism.
Yeah.
I think the guy that was disappointing from what we expected was Nick Scorton. He was great against Arkansas. Had the best individual game of the year against Arkansas of anybody. But the rest of the season, he was okay. And sometimes, so can Cassius House step in and be more productive?
Right.
Especially in the pass rush and score? And I think, yeah, absolutely can.
It goes on to talk about the league performance. SEC went 8-7 in bowl and playoff games, but failed to win the national title for the second straight year, but has a great young collection of quarterback talent. It goes on to Arch, Lenoris, DJ, Marcel, Austin Simmons. And it says title contention, less than overwhelming odds for a national championship with only 3 of the 8 teams projected within a touchdown of the number 1 ranking. When you talk about teams that have a legitimate chance to win a national championship in the SEC today, based on the information we have today, Texas, Georgia, Alabama?
Alabama, Georgia, and then the Wicked Witch of the West is Texas, and the Wicked Witch of the East is LSU.
Yeah. So you'd put 4 that have a legitimate chance?
Yeah, I would think so. And there's probably another one in there.
But you don't think LSU's a 10-win team, though, right?
No, I think I personally think LSU, from what I know about them, is probably about the same as they were last year. Maybe a game less. But I have to give it to Matt Moscona, who gave us reasons, we talked about this yesterday, why they think they're going to be so much better. And maybe they will be. Because they did spend a lot of money to get better on defense. I think that's the first step for LSU. What I don't understand is how you can say in any way about LSU that their offensive line is going to be better without Will Campbell and the other guys. But maybe it doesn't have to be better. Maybe it just has to be good enough.
Good enough.
I have a question for both of y'all about LSU. So, do you guys think that their run game, which was kind of lackluster last year, do you think because, I mean, they're, like Obi said, they're replacing 4 offensive linemen, how much, can you actually expect that run game
Maybe
to
the run
get
game
better?
will be better. Maybe that's...
Well, they say that, and it might be, but again, it's one thing if you're replacing guys that were starters that just, weren't considered okay.
Yep.
But because they're saying, well, maybe our interior guys are going to be better. Even the LSU guys say, yeah, they're not going to be as good on the tackles, but their interior guys could be better. And I'm like, okay, but the 2 guys you lost were NFL draft picks. So it's not like those guys were terrible. So maybe the scheme was terrible.
Is this a good company to be in? Continuity leaders. These are the 3 teams with the most returning production.
Okay.
77% for Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Texas A&M, second at 72%. Oklahoma at 70%. Interestingly, those 3 teams there, they average 7.5, 8 game wins, right?
Okay.
None of the top tier teams, which of course reload every year.
Well, what's encouraging for that is if you're A&M, you say, okay, I got that much coming back, and a lot of times that does translate to being better the next year. And we all talk about how A&M. We can't explain the Auburn. If you beat Auburn instead of losing in quadruple overtime, if you beat Auburn, the way people look at A&M is completely different because you're going to rationalize the loss to Notre Dame. You're going to rationalize the loss to Texas. And quite frankly, everybody's going to say, well, South Carolina was playing as good as anybody in the country in November, and you're on the road after a big win at LSU. It all makes sense. It's a trap. You can say, man, A&M has all these guys coming back, plus they did okay in the portal, plus they got some guys coming along and freshmen that could play and give you some depth, and guys come back from injury. Yeah, they should be better than they were last year.
According to this, no team has better than a 1 in 6 chance of winning the conference title. And it has the top contender as Alabama at 16%, Georgia at 15.6%, Texas at 13.6%. But it says 10 teams have at least a 1 in 20 chance of winning the SEC title.
Okay. Yeah, I see the SEC and quite frankly the national championship. I think both of them are wide open. I really do. I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you'd look at, or even 4 years ago, you'd look at Georgia and say, yeah, Georgia's the team, a prohibitive favorite. Then the next year, Georgia was a prohibitive favorite. The third year, Georgia was probably favored to three-peat, but there was a lot of people picking Michigan.
Yeah.
And then last year, I think there was a lot of people taking Ohio State.
I took Ohio State before the
so
season
did I.
started. Yeah. Conference title contenders, it kind of goes deeper into it. Alabama has the best returning production among teams, but Ty Simpson, obviously, a quarterback. 13 of 19 key players return on defense.
Okay. Were they good on defense last year?
Yeah, they were good.
Were they?
Yeah. Georgia, high floor team with Gunnar Stockton and strong recruiting, but many holes to fill. Texas, expected preseason #1, but questions about unproven units and supporting him.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Nussmeier returns for LSU. Strong receiving core, defensive improved but inconsistent. Ole Miss lost massive production. Austin Simmons at QB, entirely transfer-dependent secondary. Tennessee, interestingly, defense first team, traded Nico for Joey, it says.
You know, that Alabama defense was 7th in the SEC last year in total defense. Now, they can be better. I'm not saying that they won't be, but they gave up, 34 to Georgia, 40 to Vanderbilt, 24 to Tennessee. They lost to Nico. But they were good. They were not elite.
Yeah, they were.
And they may be elite with the guys coming back.
It has different tiers of teams. Conference title contenders I already went through. A couple of breakaways. It has A&M on there. It has South Carolina on there. It has Missouri. So teams on that next level that could break through. And it says, just looking for 6-6, which I think is interesting with the hype that Florida gets. But Florida, Auburn, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State.
And again, Florida, I think they'll be better than 6-6. I really do. But that's a pretty challenging schedule, as most in the SEC are.
Yep.
And what nobody seems to talk about is the issues with their defense. Did they play better defense in November? Yeah, they did. But maybe they were playing some teams that were having some offensive issues as well. And you look at what they lost from their defense last year. Maybe it's addition by subtraction.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, this is why at SEC Media Days I brought up, could we see a team that is 9-3, which we almost saw last year, win the SEC championship? Could we potentially see 2 9-3 teams? And I think we can.
You might be right. I
might.
I would question that, but I would doubt it. But you might be right. This might be the perfect year for that. And if it happens, how many teams does the SEC get into the playoff?
They got 3 last year. Do they only get 2 this year?
I mean, if your champions are 9-3, so one's 10-3 and one's 9-4, maybe you get 3 in, maybe you only get 2.
Yeah. And then in that same scenario, how many does the Big Ten got? They got 4 last year.
Uh-huh.
Do they get more?
Well, see, I think the Big Ten is
Penn State, Ohio State,
Michigan, somebody on
Oregon.
Oregon,
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
you
Oregon.
always got to remember those the teams.
I don't like the new conferences.
I think the Big Ten is in a situation where they could probably almost expect to get 4 every year, because unlike the SEC, you don't have the same balance. You don't have as many good teams. Like Indiana last year got in by playing a bunch of punching bags. Now, they used to be the punching bag, so you give them credit for that.
Absolutely.
They changed that, but they still never beat anybody of real substance.
Yeah, and then the Big 12. Let's talk this through. If the SEC they got 3 last year. If they got 2 this year under this weird scenario.
I think there were more good teams in the Big 12, not top end, but more Big
in the middle.
10 in the Big 12 in the middle than there were in the Big 10.
And that middle includes
Iowa State,
Baylor.
Baylor.
Texas Tech may be really good this year.
I hear that.
I hear they spent all the money in the world. So,
Cody Campbell has a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, he's likable. I've heard him on some interviews. He's likable.
I wonder who our Cody Campbell is. God, I hope we have like 10 of them, 10 Cody Campbells.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
we got great people.
I'd be one, but I don't have that kind of money.
No.
But if I did, I'd tamper my ass off. I'd be tampering.
You'd be a tampering
Come on,
fool.
Anthony Hill. You know you wanted to come here. I can give you 2 million reasons to come here.
All right, T.O. All right. Thank you, OB. Thanks for staying longer. All right, we'll hit a break here. We're going to have a short one on the other side. Then Aaron Murray will join us at 9:35, former Georgia quarterback. We'll chit-chat with Aaron about all the quarterbacks in the SEC and anything else that comes up. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. In today's fast-paced world, Caldwell Country Chevrolet brings that car buying experience right to your fingertips. Obviously, many companies do that, but when you go through Caldwell Country Chevrolet, You're going to see their updated inventory, amazing deals which change month to month, and you'll find that perfect match, calculate your trade-in value, and even start the financing process all from the comfort of your home. And if you make the drive out to Caldwell, you're going to see an incredible selection in person. Get to test drive it and find out all about the trade-in value that you can get. They're deeply invested in our community, so when you shop with them, you're supporting a business that gives back to the Brazos Valley. So if you want to make a difference and get the right car for you, make the drive out to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan, to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. And we are back. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. Aaron Murray should be joining us here in about 9 minutes or so. Chit-chat about all things SEC. I did want to take a moment to talk a little A&M basketball. We'll talk to Bucky tomorrow at the preseason kickoff. Looking forward to an extended conversation with the head coach of Texas A&M Hoops and find out some stuff. He held a press conference yesterday, open practice, where several members of the media, including our Luke Evangelist, were at. And I just want to kind of go through certain parts. And again, tomorrow I'll follow up with some more specific. But he talked about Bucky ball, and it's one. I don't remember if it's in this quote or not, but right now they only got 10 players at practice, so it makes some of the things he wants to do a little bit more difficult because, you know, Bucky ball takes a lot out of your legs, and it's a two-way Bucky ball. It's not just offense, it's about the defense that comes with it. But he talked a little bit about that yesterday on how it's coming together and where things are trending.
Yeah, it's been come together nicely. You know, not their best day. Didn't shoot it well today. End of a long week. It's pretty tired. But, you know, to have all new players, you know, only one returner, and we obviously knew that there'd be some hiccups along the way. But they've got better every single week, and that's all we can control. Our whole deal is not focused on winning a championship. It's not focused on winning a game. It's focused on how can we get better every single week. And these guys have done that. They've done it, and I think we got a good shooting team. Didn't get to see that much today, but I think that that's got to be the focus for our whole season. How can we be better today than we were yesterday, and how can we be better tomorrow than we were today?
Heath, I'm going to go to you here because I gave you, I don't know if you were listening to what Bucky just said there, but I gave you a comment earlier. So he's talking about, like, he's not worried about the end goal. He's worried about getting better today. We had a conversation. I don't even remember what the conversation was.
We were talking about soccer.
But do you remember what my comment to you was?
Something along the lines of, like, the process.
Fall in love with the process and not the results.
Correct.
The results will come, which is such a Jocko / you don't even know who that is. You know Jocko?
But I think it's good. Good information.
It's the way high performers prepare. That's how they all prepare. That's how Kobe, that's how Michael, that's how the best, consistently the best over time prepare. And that works, I think, in any walk of life, basketball, business, medical, whatever it may be. One of the things he talked about was, you know, putting this roster together, and a key piece of that could be Rashawn Agee, who is not clear just yet. He goes on this, and I think we have both quotes put together, but he talks a little bit about Agee that, by the way, he started his college basketball career in 2020, which is why he's not necessarily going to be eligible. Hopefully he is. He started there at New Mexico State, redshirted 2021. He was injured at the first game of the year. He transferred to Casper College, and then he spent a season at Casper, transferred to Bowling Green, where he started for 2 years before moving to USC, and now he's at Texas A&M. So he's hoping for a waiver, or he's hoping to get eligible. And Bucky talked a little bit about where that is and why it's going to be so important to get him eligible.
You'd hope that we get an answer here sooner than later. Sometimes, you know, there's appeal processes and it can go further than that. But I'll say this, that he's a guy that is worth fighting for. You know, I think his circumstances, not getting into too much detail, are certainly worth the NCAA taking a close look at. And he's a kid that's valuable to our group and is one of those players that it's infectious. Not just the way that he plays, but how he can impact others with his leadership. And he's somebody that, in my opinion, deserves to be able to suit up and get out there and play basketball.
Have y'all gotten?
Have you seen take a leadership?
Rashawn Agee, been our best leader overall. Some lead by example. He leads by example with his voice. And so they respect him. He's older. And he gives you his best. You see him today. Wasn't his best day, but he, even in his moments where he's not playing his best, he still wants to lead the group.
It's exciting to hear if he gets eligible. They asked him about Ruben Dominguez, how much eligibility he's going to have, and that was still a TBD. But I'm glad BTTS on the YouTube page did bring this up. He in the press conference, he talked about at one point, I think it was earlier this week, Ruben Dominguez, the guy who came from Spain, by the way, who's already played professional ball in Spain, hit 70 straight threes. Could you hit 70 straight free throws?
No.
Could you hit 70 straight layups?
No.
Could you hit 70 straight tap-ins in soccer?
No.
Exactly my
Definitely
point. Homeboy's hitting from way beyond the arc. All right, we'll hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, I think we'll have Aaron Murray. Hopefully we will. Right now we're talking about Chance McClain, the filmmaker, the storyteller, the guy who's got a heart of gold, who tells people stories. That's what he does with Heritage Films. If you've got a ranch, you've got a farm, let him tell that farm and ranch's story. He's amazing at telling these stories. He'll also tell your family's story, whatever it may be. Chance makes sure that he captures the essence of your family and your family business and your family ranch. He is the absolute best at doing it. We're talking about professional cinematic equipment, and it's like you're watching a Netflix documentary. That's the beauty of it. It really is great stuff. He's done it for, I was going to say millions of Aggies. Not millions of Aggies, but hundreds of Aggies, because we care about our story more than others. That's a fact, and we love telling our story, and Chance can do that for your family. We did it with my pops, who, by the way, he's going to be 95 next week on July 31st, and we got to do it with Chance a couple years back, and it was awesome. I highly recommend it. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It's more than a business, Heritage Films. It's a relationship built on trust and storytelling. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Our next guest, one of the nicest guys out there. He didn't have to be, but he is. He's always accommodating. He's joining us here on the program. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback, and of course, you find him on ESPN, Sirius, the Snaps podcast, you name it. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, man, how's it going? Man, I'm pumped. NFL's getting going with practice. College football, I think, gets going next week with practice. So we're here. SEC Media Days was good, a little somewhat uneventful, and now it's getting ready to kick off here shortly. So a good time of the year, so I'm excited to be on with you.
Well, thanks for joining us. First off, there was a tweet from you, I think maybe a week ago, that you had Lagway as your number one quarterback in the SEC. I believe that's how you had it. Yep. Give me the why, and what do you expect to see from him this year?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. It's actually for Florida just in general. I think that's kind of a team that, finished the season off really strong last year. And I think right now with a little bit more of somewhat of a cushion for Billy Napier at the head coaching position, let's talk about, is he going to lose his job this offseason compared to a year ago? I think that team's in a really good spot to have success once again this year, but it starts with their quarterback. And I do think DJ Lagway, I was fortunate enough to actually cover his first real start last season against Kentucky. So I got in there on Friday, got to Gainesville, sat down with the young man, had a conversation with him. And he just checks off all the boxes. Great size, very intelligent, hardworking. And then you see what he can do on the football field. Athleticism, ability to push the ball vertically down the field, something that Florida did not have a lot of success with before DJ came in last season. Being able to hit those explosive plays down the field. And, the turnovers are an issue. But when you're not the starting quarterback, when you are a freshman, mistakes are going to happen. And I'm fine with mistakes, especially as a young kid. I want a guy that's going out there trying to go out there and test the waters a little bit, test the boundaries. What throws can I make? What throws can I make? And now you go into the offseason and say, okay, listen, went back and watched the film. This is SEC ball. Defenses are a little bit faster. These are the plays I can and can't make. And now I go out there and make the corrections heading into year 2, year 3, and beyond. But I just think he's an absolutely gifted individual. I really like what Florida does offensively with Billy Napier, the shifts, the motions, getting a clear picture for the quarterback. So, yeah, I do anticipate with DJ Lagway, with Wilson back at the receiving spot, some other spots as well. Offensive line should be pretty darn good there in Gainesville as well. That DJ Lagway should end up being one of the premier quarterbacks, not just in the SEC, but in all of college football.
All right, let's talk about growth from one year to the next. You mentioned what you expect to see from Lagway, the quarterback at A&M, Marcel Reed. I think he would get similar props, maybe not Lagway level of props, if A&M wins those last few games at the end of the year, but the defense let them down in some of those games. Where do you have Marcel?
I think he's kind of right there in the middle of the pack. I'm hoping that he put on some weight this offseason, so I'm sure you would have better insight than I would.
He has.
If he put some LBs on and can take the punishment of being a full-time quarterback all year long. But, it's going to be a very different offense than Florida, and I think that's the biggest difference is you look at Florida and DJ Lagway and what his strengths are, throwing the football, pushing it vertically down the field. Not saying Marcel can't do that or an ability to do that, but you look at A&M and how they're built, offensive line, 3 really talented running backs, and then a very mobile quarterback. So I just think the offense is going to look different. So when you look at the stat sheet, come November, December, January, at the end of the season, I do think statistically you'll see DJ probably perform a little bit better, especially throwing the football, but doesn't necessarily mean that Marcel's not doing a great job within his offense and what he's asked to do. So I think that's when you're in, and I got stuck with this too, because I was in a very talented SEC with a lot of talented quarterbacks, like my senior year, junior, senior year. We had, Met, we had, Johnny Manziel, guys like that. So, as a competitor, you're looking at the stat sheet after the, Sunday morning, you go in the coach's offices and they have the stats of the week. And then you look at Johnny's putting up crazy numbers, Met's putting up crazy numbers, A.J. McCarron's putting up crazy numbers. Like, man, I gotta keep up with those guys a little bit because I'm, one of the top quarterbacks in this conference. So I think if I had a message to Marcel heading into the season is, understand your offense within Colin Klein. You're not going to be an offense like Florida. You're not going to be an offense like Tennessee. You're not going to be an offense like LSU and Garrett Nussmeier and those receivers and how they want to push the ball vertically down the field. This will be and should be a football team that strength is running it, that hopefully the defense, like you allude to, does take steps in the right direction, that is more physical, and it's going to be lower scoring games. So the stat sheet may not be sexy, but I do anticipate Marcel to take strides in the right direction, hopefully this season.
What year did you see your most growth? Was it 1 to 2? I mean, you went from, was it 24 touchdowns to 35? You had 36 your junior year. Where did you feel the most growth where you saw the field at its best?
I would say probably year 2 to year 3, and I think a part of that had to do with my ownership of the offense. I think there is a massive jump from year 1 to year 2 when it comes to, understanding, talk about with DJ, understanding the speed of the game, better understanding of the offense, a maturing when it comes to leadership. I think as a freshman, redshirt freshman, or just a freshman, it's hard to be a leader. You're kind of just trying to figure out the offense. You're trying to figure out defenses. You're trying to just not make major mistakes that cost your team. And then now once you kind of get your feet wet a little bit, you feel good about the system. You know your checks. You know the defenses. You know the speed. You know what it's like playing in major SEC stadiums. Now you can start to mature when it comes to the leadership, especially in the offseason of organizing 7-on-7s. And that goes a long way to building that trust in the locker room, that leadership factor. So I think that's where you'll see a lot of the growth. But when it comes to being an absolute master of the offense, and for me, the communication with Mike Bobo really jumped, I would say, from second season to third season when it came to like, hey, Bobo, this is what I like. These are the plays. This is what I'm seeing defensively. This is what I like on third down. This is what I like in the red zone. So I think that mastery of the offense, and then really the control at the line of scrimmage, of getting to the line of scrimmage and saying, you know what, this doesn't look good. Let me check out of this. So yeah, I think that communication has to be really strong with Marcel and Colin this year. But hopefully he continues to mature into year 3 and beyond.
Every year of your career in college, you threw for over 3,000 yards. And you had very strong running games. I mean, I think Todd Gurley, your junior year. Yeah. So just talk about that when it comes to a quarterback trying to master the offense, but having the ability to rely on a running game that you had, that Marcel's going to have this year.
Yeah, I mean, Le'Veon, Daniels, the offensive line, and plus his legs too. I think that's, listen, I consider myself somewhat dual threat. I was labeled dual threat coming out of high school, but I'm not to the same level as some of these guys are, and especially Marcel is when it comes to running, and being a threat. And I think that's something too where you're always working to become a better passer. You're always working on your footwork in the pocket. You always want to be able to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. But sometimes you just got to be an athlete. So to kind of get on your question first, to be able to have running backs to get it to second and manageable, to get it to third and manageable, where I don't have to do a 5-step drop. And then also I'm a threat to run the football. I think that's a big thing too. So, for fans, most defenses say when it's third and short, somewhere in that 3rd to 2 to 6 range, short to medium, a lot of teams want to play man-to-man coverage. They want to play man-to-man coverage because they don't want to give up those easy completions in a zone. Well, the problem is you play man-to-man, and all of a sudden you lose on the fact of, are you going to put a linebacker to spy Marcel? Are you going to blitz and bring 5 and leave him wide open to where if nothing's there, he can take off and run his legs? So when you get to those third and manageable because of a strong running game, defenses are going to have to make a tough decision. Do we play zone because of his ability to run the football to get more eyes on the quarterback, which gives up easy completions? Or do we play man and hope that our defensive line can contain him, because if no one pops when it comes to the routes, he can take off and run with his legs, and then all of a sudden you got a Mike linebacker, 250 pounds, trying to chase down a very athletic quarterback. So that running game, staying ahead of the chains with a mobile quarterback, is going to be really dangerous for the Aggies this season.
I'm going to ask you about one more quarterback, Lenore Sellers. I recognize the talent. I recognize the season he had. I feel like I have to defend my take on. I don't see him the same way I think a lot of people do. I do think he's, if not 1A, 1B in the SEC, but some of the comparisons that he's gotten, I just don't think are fair. And I'm thinking of Cam Newton and others. Maybe not because of Lenoris, because I have so many questions about the pieces around him this year. And that defense not being as strong, more than likely. We'll see, right? Like all these things are, we'll see. Where are you on Lenore Sellers?
Well, I agree with you on the defense. I mean, the defense last season was absolutely incredible. And I think that was obviously the strength of that football team, and especially early on. I mean, I I had South Carolina week 1, which was just one of the ugliest games you'll ever see offensively. And if it wasn't for a fumble by the quarterback of the opposing team with inside the 10-yard line, South Carolina would have probably lost their first game against a group of 5 team. And Shane let us know, like, listen, it's not going to be pretty early, and Lenore's is going to have some bumps, but man, this kid is uber talented. And, I think he does check off a lot of boxes: size, physicality. I think he's a very, very talented thrower. Maybe not as pure as a passer as DJ Lagway, which is kind of why I have DJ above him. He's more of a physical runner, which I get why there's a comparison to Cam. But I'm with you. Like, the defense is not going to be as good as it was a year ago. And there's no way it can be. When you lose, Kennard and Sanders and Debo and Martin Scott and Knight, and the list goes on and on and on. I mean, that defense was stacked. When you lose that side, they're gonna take a step back. You're hoping the weapons around him get better, because the weapons a year ago were horrendous. I mean, it was Josh Simon, and that was it, the tight end position, but the receivers could not get open. The receivers could not make plays. It was a Rocket Sanders, Josh at tight end, and then, Lenore's the quarterback spot. So, Nick Harbor has to get better. I know he's kind of put track to the side a little bit and his focus on becoming a better receiver. You saw some of those glimpses last year. A guy like Mazio Bennett, a freshman a year ago, made some plays, dealt with some injury. I think he's a guy that can make a big step heading into his second season. Jared Brown, I think, is a very talented slot receiver. They got to find ways to get him the ball creatively. So, I think the weapons could be better. It'll be interesting to see the running back spot replacing Rocket Sanders, who I thought had a really good year. I know they went to the portal, got a couple guys from Utah State and Colorado. But Lenore's, just like we talk about guys getting better in year 2, I think Lenore's will take a step forward in the right direction as a passer. I think the weapons will be better, and they're going to have to be. Like you said, and I just said a couple minutes ago, the defense will not be as strong. This team is going to have to rely more on that offense to go out there and create some more explosives.
All right, I lied to you. 30 seconds, if you can, on Gunnar Stockton, because I assume you got the skinny on that.
Yeah, I mean, I like Gunnar. I think Gunnar's a hard worker. I think he's a great leader. I think he's got a great arm. I think he's athletic. And fingers crossed, Georgia doesn't drop 5 million footballs this year. It makes his life a little bit easier. So, I know there's a lot of excitement about Noah Thomas, your guy, and Zachary Branch, and, Dylan Bell and Colby Young. So weapons should be better. I'm interested to see what the offensive line looks like, but I think he's a good quarterback. I really do. I wouldn't say there's maybe elite traits from a throwing perspective, but he can make all the passes. He can get out of trouble. And I think there's going to be some good weapons around him. So I do anticipate Georgia to hopefully be a better offense this year.
Aaron, great stuff, man. Thanks for making time. Let's do it during the season.
Yeah, let me know. Appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Aaron Murray there on the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Around Aggieland. Kaylee Dreyer will join us for that, I believe. That and more. It's TexAgs. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio around Aggieland. Kaylee Dreyer, I found it interesting that Nick Savage wants to do something and beat us at something we've never done before. He goes, we should do a skeet ball thing, and I would dominate you guys.
Skeet shooting.
Yeah, sorry, skeet ball. That's a different thing. Skeet shooting, sorry. And I'm like, yeah, that's what he's a great shooter. It's not fair.
I would be so terrible at that, as well as wiffle ball, that he also wants to play.
I'd be interested in wiffle ball. I think Cade would probably dominate that.
Let's try.
Yeah, I would lose, but Cade would probably. I think Cade is the one who's played baseball at a high level. Anyway, do you have anything on Around Aggieland to share with us?
I have a few things.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you want to start, or do you want me to keep delaying?
So starting with Texas A&M baseball, former reliever Brandon Garcia, he made his Major League Baseball debut for the Seattle Mariners. He is now with the Arizona Diamondbacks, but he was the 66th Aggie to make his MLB debut in the second this season, following Jake Palish. And continuing on with baseball, they earned the Team Academic Excellence Award from the American Baseball Coaches Association for the 4th straight year. They posted a 3.28 GPA for the 24-25 school year, joining 8 other SEC programs on the list. 17 players also made the 2025 Spring SEC Academic Honor Roll, and 20 freshmen earned spots on the first-year list as well. And then for Texas A&M volleyball, Logan Lednicki and Afina Kozak-Paula were named to the 2025 American Volleyball Coaches Association Player of the Year watch list. These seniors make the first Aggies to be named to the Player of the Year watch list in program history, and they earned their second preseason recognition of the year, as they were also named to the preseason All-SEC team. And then I'll end it by saying there's 36 more days until Aggie football is back in Kyle Field.
I like how you set that up. Like you smiled. It was like,
because I'm excited.
All right, give me 3 reasons to be excited. Why are you excited?
Well, one, I think that we're going to be better than we were last year.
We were pretty good last year.
Yes, but I have higher hopes for Marcel with Le'Veon being back and Ruben. I think that our offense is just going to dominate, as well as the defense.
So higher hopes because, okay, what else? Give me 2 other reasons.
I think that Mike Elko running the defense is going to do really well for us this season.
And then one more.
I'm really excited.
Because you love going to Kyle Field?
Yeah, I love football.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Kaylee.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back on TexAgs Live, we will do Around the SEC. Thanks to our friends at the Jaxer Group. Cade Bickham will handle those duties. Watch out, Chaos Cade. And then after that, at some point, within 30 seconds or an hour, Billy Liucci on TexAgs Live. That and more here on the show that I just called TexAgs Live. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in for the final hour of the program. My prediction, I'm not going to even say what my prediction is.
Say it.
No, I'll tell you at the break. But I just know that I'm predicting something. But if I say it, it'll for sure happen. If I don't say it, it could still happen.
I feel like I know what you're going to say.
But you don't say it. Don't say a word. It's time for the Round the SEC, presented by the Jaxer Group. And we go behind the glass. And Cade Bickham, who is an extraordinary athlete and sometimes a little chaotic in the back, is joining us. And today he doesn't look like Steve Jobs, but there was a day recently he'd look like Steve Jobs with the way he dressed. That's okay, though. Cade, what do you have for us?
Well, I have something for you that Connor O'Gara, a friend of the program, tweeted pretty recently. He made a story about there were, and I quote, there were 0 running backs and 3 wide receivers at SEC Media Days last week. And of the 96 SEC player representatives the last 2 years, only 1 was a running back. So my question for you for Around the SEC is, do you think that it's because there's a lack of like face of the program wide receivers or running backs, or do you think it is because of what Connor O'Gara thinks is maybe because of the transfer portal and all of the moving around for skill position guys?
I would say the transfer portal, but I find it interesting. Like, let me ask you this. Young Bickham, it looks like he's doing something with somebody. I will ask the group this. Who is the face of Alabama football? You don't know.
I don't know.
I would say it's Ryan Williams. That would be my opinion. I think your eyes agree with me. Kate, do you agree? Ryan Williams is the face of Alabama football. So if anyone's going to be at SEC Media Days that's a wide receiver, it would be, or am I wrong?
I think that I would totally agree with that. I think that he's definitely the face of that program right now, just because he made such a name for himself last year. He was awesome in that Georgia game. I think it's like similar to, like, I would say Jeremiah Smith is the face of Ohio State right now, like pretty easily. So I think that's fair. I couldn't. It's not Ty Simpson.
I also think it is weird how people create storylines and narratives based on who teams bring to media days. Because, like, every program has got their... Oh, Billy's on line 1. That's good to hear. Every team has got, like, their own philosophy when it comes to who they bring on media days. We go straight to the Buppy's Catering hotline, bartending hotline. Billy Liucci joining us. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning, David. What was your... I think I know your prediction.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Does it have to do with me?
No.
I thought it had to do with my timing.
It did.
It had nothing to do with your timing.
Was I or was I not sitting at another broken egg? Was Bree not late with the to-go coffee that cost us as I'm pulling up?
Blame somebody else. Interesting.
You know, there was a lot going on. Yeah.
No, it had nothing to do with your timing.
Is Bronny sitting in a chair with offensively low shorts?
Probably. He is sitting in a chair. I try not to look below the neck.
That would all be true.
Yeah. So one of your more brilliant ideas.
Has Richard Zane already called and complained about something to me this morning?
Yes, he has.
Yes. Those would have been my predictions.
No.
Did Billy forget to wear his black hat I was supposed to wear today?
Was it today the black hat or the other hat?
Well, I'm wearing the black one, so you're wearing the upside down one.
Yeah, I wore that yesterday.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to know what my prediction was?
What?
Well, it wasn't a prediction, was it? How did I phrase it? Something I think is going to happen?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think TexAgs overtime will probably happen, but okay. I also know we owe the people a luchador soon. So I don't know, like it's the yin and the yang.
You want to do luchador Sunday? Is that what you're saying?
What is happening on Sunday? There's something happening Sunday. Oh, sleep. Whatever you want to do, Billy. This is football season. We are here to talk football 7 days a week.
I would love to do a fall camp preview luchador on Sunday, a day after we sit down and I'm going to have an extensive conversation tomorrow at the TexAgs kickoff with Mike Elko. So it sounds like the perfect time.
I agree.
To do one.
I agree. So
perfect production meeting.
I have a couple things that I don't think came up on your Ask Liucci. I didn't listen to all of it, but I listened to some of it. And there's a couple of questions that came up that I thought wouldn't be bad talking points for this morning, if you don't mind.
Certainly. Why don't you go to a break and we'll tackle these?
Okay, we'll do that. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Billy Liucci on TexAgs Live. And I'm going to put him on. Oh, I just hung up on him. Too bad. And right now, as we hit a very early break, we're going to talk about our friends at Duck Camp. I wore Duck Camp yesterday. Yesterday was my G.I. Joe day. It was a good day. Are you familiar with G.I. Joe?
Mm-hmm.
You watched it?
No.
Who's G.I. Joe? What's that mean? What's this hard thing? What was that?
That's all I correlate with it.
What do you think G.I. Joe is? I'm just without Googling. No, I want to know what you think G.I. Joe is.
I've heard of.
Is it a person? Is it a place or a thing?
A thing. Like a.
What is like?
Can you leave me alone for a little?
You don't know what it is. Just admit it. Just please.
No, I've heard G.I. Joe.
But what do you think it means?
Is it a show or a toy or a character?
It's all of that.
Yeah.
And I was dressed like a G.I. Joe character. My favorite was Flint. But anyway, if you're chasing the birds at sunrise, casting lines from the bow, or sweating it out during scorchers at Cowfield, Duck Camp's gear's got you covered to keep you cool, comfortable, looking sharp no matter where the day takes you. All their gear is awesome. If you haven't gone to the website, you should, duckcamp.com. You'll see what they have. But they are fantastic. Lightweight performance hoodie, the scout shorts, the essential hoodie, lightweight fishing shirt. And all of these you can wear in those environments, or you can wear them to church, you can wear them to work, you can wear them to the gym, you could just wear them laying around the house. They're awesome gear, and I highly, highly recommend it. The scout shorts are tough enough for the hunt, stylish enough for the post-game beers. The fishing shirt built for the flats, clean enough for the tailgate. So whether you're gearing up for a hunt or a fishing trip or just trying to survive September heat at Kylefield, please check out duckcamp.com. Built for the outdoors, designed for everything else.
And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy Hour time. Hello, Billy.
Hello.
Hello, Newman. Anyway.
Yoda.
So.
Noon Yoda. Do you like my hat?
I love it. That's the new version.
Because I love it.
I want that hat.
Yeah.
I like it. Looks very good. I like the backwards one that I have, too.
Oh, the upside down.
Yeah, sorry. Is it upside down? Yeah, it's upside down. So I teased what we were going to talk about, but I want to start with something else that I think it's...
I want to start with something.
Okay, well...
It's a statement. We were talking during the break with Ambry, B-R-E-Y.
About the A.
Well, I know.
And the N.
Ambry.
Yeah.
Ambry. I said Ambry. I didn't say Bria, but I spelled the end of it because I think it's unique. Amber Heath over here, and y'all were talking, she butchered during the commercial Kaylen DeBoer's name.
I didn't say that to the people.
But here's the thing about Kaylen, what'd you call him? DeBarge?
El DeBarge.
El DeBarge. Kaylen DeBarge, what's so crazy to me, my biggest thing from SEC Media Days the last 2 years.
Oh, I know this.
Is like we're sitting there, and for folks that were watching, we're up against, say, where we were, we're up against a wall to the left. Like when we're on radio, our backs are to a wall to the left, and facing straight across is like there was a Austin radio station and an Alabama show right here, within a few feet. Kaylen DeBoer, a lot of these coaches, and I'd like to see A&M do this next year. A lot of these coaches will make the rounds at Media Row. I saw Elko do Kubelik and Mac. Doesn't matter.
I got them later.
Yeah, and you got them later. But I like when the players. I like when the players kind of go and do little radio hits for other markets. I don't know. A lot of schools do that. You know, most of them, I think, do. You see the players, they kind of go through Radio Row. And it's generally within their market and area, but then they also, you know, like an LSU site can get one of the Tennessee guys. Lagway could do something for, you know, Alabama or Texas, whatever. But right there is Kaylen DeBoer. And he's sitting there, and he does a radio hit, or he's waiting to do one, and sitting there. And he's just standing there for, what was it, about 15 minutes? Just kind of, you could tell he's just kind of planning like what the rest of the afternoon looked like. And no one says anything to him. No one's talking to him. Not in a bad way, but
they didn't know who he was.
They knew who he was, but nobody, but it doesn't, there's just no R, and this is not a knock.
He's unassuming.
I think Kaylen DeBoer is a damn good coach. I think he's going to get that back on track. But there's just no, like, aura about him, and I don't think a coach has to have aura. But Nick Saban, it was a mob, and the room stopped when he was anywhere within, you know, anyone's vicinity.
Yep.
Like if you and Olin are trying to do a show, y'all are going to be distracted. It might send Olin into 47 head scratches.
Yeah.
Just, you know, like, who knows? Like, but, you know, Nick Saban, like, walks in the room stops. Kaylen DeBoer is in the room. He's just another person in the room. And it's crazy because we went through the first 11 years of this. It was like, yeah, there's the Arch Manning show this year. There was the Johnny Manziel show prior to 2013. It's legendary, the stories of the Tim Tebow show. You've had other players that created, but no one, year in and year out moved the needle like Nick Saban. And now the Alabama coach is just sitting there and just kind of nondescript and, like you said, unassuming.
So then I'm going to ask you the same thing I started the show with.
Yeah.
I think the answer is obvious, but who's the face of the SEC?
What? Do what?
You need me to do this for a second?
No, they're taking a picture of me with the hat.
Oh, sorry.
Who's the what?
Who's the face of the SEC now?
SEC now, that would be
not
Doring or Peter Burns.
No,
Peter Burns is the face of SEC.
Like, because if you want to go coach, it's obviously Kirby/Lane.
Okay.
Player, probably Arch, even though he hasn't done enough. But
it's not Arch. It could be. It's gonna. You know, if you want to play the odds, it's probably going to end up, I think, by the end of this season being like, unless one of these teams wins a national title, like you guys were talking earlier, if it's LSU or, you know, but I think it's going to be ultimately, yeah, I think if you were a betting man, and I would put bets on like Lagway, Arch Manning. You know, I mean, people like Austin Simmons, Marcel Reed, John Mateer, like they could even have better 2024 seasons than either the 2025 seasons than either of those guys. And if it's close, those guys are still going to make moves towards being the face of the league. That's just, they've already had it bestowed upon them. You know, Lagway from the recruiting hype, but then also what he showed in the second half of last season, Arch because of the hype and build up. I get it. I mean, and I like, again, I think the odds are like either both of them are going to be great. Certainly one of them is going to be great. But I think those are definitely the kind of face of the SEC type. You mentioned Ryan Williams. I don't think, hell, we had a Heisman Trophy receiver come out of the conference. I still don't know if he was the face of the league until like the very end when people looked up. And
but
go,
if Alabama were to have one, it would be Ryan Williams, right?
And yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be Ty Simpson. I don't think it's going to be him, but like.
But to me, it goes back to what you said. There's an aura behind someone, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's an aura around Arch right now.
Arch and Lagway are the two.
And Lagway and Kirby. And I'd say Lane has an aura to him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's also got a stench to him.
This is true. I'm not disagreeing that at all.
And I don't mean an actual one. I mean a reputational one. But I don't have Lane at Ole Miss is perfect, and that should stay that way. And I don't mean that as a knock on Ole Miss. I just think that's a fit. His style of play, that's our guy. We don't care who hates him or who loves him. That's our guy. I always want A&M to have coaches like that. Like, that's our coach. Like, he's us. You know, and I really thought early on that was going to be Jimbo. Like, remember that second game against Clemson and the way they fought and came back and him going after the officials, and he was like laid back country guy. Like, man, this fits. I knew people over there at Florida State that were telling me before he got here, like, man, he's going to be a great fit. It didn't translate on the field. It didn't translate, I think, timing in his career. But Aggies want and embrace more than anything. I mean, look, let's be real. They'll take a non-fit that wins at an elite
100%.
level. But ask LSU how they feel about fit. They adored Ed O for the most part. And
until he stopped winning.
Fit, and then he won a national title, and then he stopped winning, but they still adore Edo.
Yeah.
Now they'll start. Now they recognize his faults and flaws, but they've never embraced Brian Kelly, and they won't until he wins a national title. Like the three coaches before him did, but he's not a fit. I heard y'all mention Moscona this morning. Moscona, I saw a clip where he's like, okay, 4 years in now, and he's really realized that he's going to have a whole staff, an entire Louisiana, essentially, staff with Louisiana roots. And that's what you need. And it took him this long, you know, and he kind of let go of some people early on that were connected in the state of Louisiana, and they felt like that backfired. So the fit does matter. Obviously, winning is number one that matters. You'll embrace a non-fit. I don't know that, was Nick Saban, we always talk about this, what were Nick Saban's ties to the Deep South when he got the job at LSU and then Bama? Nick Saban's ties were, now by the time he got to Bama, it was had he been in the SEC at LSU, but Nick Saban was like a West Virginia guy who got his start, what was it, Kent State and that, you know, and NFL some, and Kent State, and then the Browns, and then, you know, his you know, he made this name for himself in the college level at Michigan State.
Yeah.
And then flew down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and immediately started recruiting and winning. So it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but I think Aggie fans in particular, over my years of experience, have loved these coaches. That's our guy. RC is one of us. That's our guy. Jackie is us, the 12th man, and going to Bonfire, and that he's us. And then Billy Gillespie, he
felt like
captured
us,
that.
yeah.
He captured that, and he wasn't, because he left for Kentucky,
But when he was here,
he was. And I think if you really pin him down all these years later, he would say of all the stops, like that's what he loved the most. Can Mike Elko be that? Yeah, I think he's kind of got that. As you say things like this, it comes off wrong, but every man feel about him. But what I mean is, he's the head football coach at A&M. He'll go.
He's running the bases.
Sit in restaurants. He's not scared to go out there and take some cuts in a softball, run the base. He's creating, along with the team, some things to get them more involved in the community. I feel like with success, he becomes that guy for A&M. He's defense first. That's what Billy Gillespie was. That's what R.C. Slocum was. So he checks, I think, a lot of the boxes.
Do we talk about Ruben Owens enough?
I mean, I
think
I
you
think
do.
I do.
I think you do.
But I heard something the other day, and I don't know who said it, but they were like, might be the best running back tandem in the country. And I'm not ready to say that because I know what Ruben was in high school. I know what Ruben was, what I thought he was going to be entering last season. But now we're going into year 3, so you got to see it. I think it's there. I know it's there. I think we're going to see that. But if you said running back room and you're pumping in Amari Daniels and E.J. Smith and a couple of true freshmen that I'm really high on, then yeah. 1, 2, we got to see more from Ruben. Because right now you got 1, and 1's coming off a season-ending injury requiring surgery and a lot of rehab, and 2 hasn't really played very much meaningful football yet because he was a true freshman with a loaded backfield, and then he was a second-year guy ready to break out and had a foot injury. I think Ruben Owens, if he'd have been healthy last year, I think a lot of people would be saying this 1-2 punch might be the best in college football. But now we have to see it.
Yeah,
we have to see it. But Ruben, I think, is going to get a real chance because you hear Elko, and I don't know what he said in the most recent report, but he had said we'll talk tomorrow. But they expect, Le'Veon's way ahead of schedule, and they expect him. And I watched him run this offseason. He looks great. They expect him to be cleared for full contact and all that kind of midway through fall camp, which makes sense. It's just all you really need to do is get him acclimated to live speed and getting popped around a little bit. But it might be where in the early portion of the season, if Ruben proves he can carry that load, you could see it being a little more of him and Amari Daniels. I don't think, just knowing Le'Veon Moss, if he can be practicing full speed by midway through fall camp, and he's going to be participating from day one. This is not like, you got to understand, in Elko's mind, based on what they've seen, that 2 weeks is the ramp up. So a lot of times you'll hear, well, we might have him back by this date. A lot of coaches, that means he'll be back practicing on this day, and you can expect him to look normal a month from then. No, this is like Le'Veon's starting practice when they start, and they expect him to be full go midway through, which means a couple weeks before game 1, which means if they wanted to, that's still a month before you go to Notre Dame, midway through fall camp. So I think Le'Veon hits the ground running. I think also with Mike Elko, when you're listening to him in the pressers, and if you hear me saying something, it's coming from a place that if Elko says he should probably be back to start October, he should probably be back in time for Arkansas. When he says that, I think Jabri Barber, the return date, was hoped to be Arkansas. He is including in that date. That does not mean return to practice the week of Arkansas. He means we think he'll be back and
to be
normal
back,
and playing and doing exactly what we
Jabri played
hoped
a
he would
little
do.
bit leading into that.
I think he played even against Florida. Well, yeah, he scored. He scored a touchdown? Maybe they got called back against Florida, or did he score? He had one. I think he had one. I think Jabri. Man, they play. It might have been. It might have been the week after, but I think I feel like he caught one had a big catch against Florida.
Against Florida, 2 catches, 9 yards. I don't see a touchdown. He might have had one that was called back.
I think he had one that was called back. Anyway, I could be wrong, but point being, Jabri was back a lot sooner than people thought.
Way sooner. That was 3 weeks
earlier.
before,
And like Arkansas, he was like himself, and that's what Elko. When you hear him talk about stuff, you can always assume you'll see that player a little sooner, but in his mind's like that's when they're back.
Yeah, I agree with that. The other thing I want to get into is this is probably going to be something you could get into with Elko, or we can at some point. How do you see, with a lot of people that you feel like can contribute?
Yeah.
The wide receiver room, a lot of guys. The running backs. How do you get the touches, enough touches for everybody? Like Amari last year became the starter. I think it was back-to-back years with over 590 yards rushing. I think 600 last year, 590 the year before, something to that effect. You've got Ruben, you've got Le'Veon, you've got KC, you've got Mario. We hope Terry takes a huge step. Ashton Bethel-Roman's had a great offseason. How does that kind of divvy out? Great problem to have, by the way.
I don't. How would you like me to answer that?
I don't. I think it's more of a talking point that I think.
You're worried about touches?
No, I'm not worried about it.
No,
I'm saying it's more of like it's a good problem to have where you feel like all these guys can contribute.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're getting to that point, right? Like that's where. Look at the teams that A&M has played and lost to over the years since joining this league. Go ahead. You can go back to the last game they played in the conference against Texas and say, like, I know he's just a 7th round pick, but like Ewers and Golden, who was a 1st rounder, and you can go, all those other receivers they had. They had an elite tight end, running backs, even when depleted, that were really effective. You can go back, LSU in 2019, Chase and Jefferson and Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Moss. You can go back to Alabama and those legendary 4 receivers we mentioned. One of them won the Heisman. Oh, by the way, that wasn't Jalen Waddle, Ruggs, Mechie. I'm forgetting a great one there too. Was
Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy, who I thought at times was the best one. All the Bama running backs early in the SEC, along with like Amari freaking Cooper at receiver, that I feel like people even forget played there because of those receivers to follow. You go back to Clemson with Trevor Lawrence and Etienne and T. Higgins. Just these teams A&M's played since joining the SEC. The only exception of the elite teams they played that didn't have these insane playmakers at the skill spots was Georgia. And when A&M went up there, now they had Pickens, who's one of the best receivers in the NFL, but they didn't have a great passing game. They just were more like running back central. But how did Georgia break through and win the national title? Stetson Bennett ended up being a freaking baller, but you had Brock Bowers, you had McConkey. Like that's what took them over the top, with playmakers at the skill, and that they kind of lacked, or they lacked the ability to turn them loose at least until that point. Boom, what happens? National title. A&M, I think, has been really behind at the skill spots since Kevin Sumlin left. Ironically enough, if there's a couple things you point to Sumlin, you go, they had really good receivers. And then they actually recruited the hell out of the D-line.
Yeah, they did.
When Elko and Jimbo got here, they had Clemens, they had Tyree Johnson, they had Dalen for a year, they had Matabike, they had Jaden Peavy. there are a lot of guys that played or play in the NFL that they walked in. So ironically, and oh, by the way, someone also recruited a number 1 draft pick and a Hall of Famer in Miles Garrett. So for all their terrible defense that ultimately cost him, it was actually the D-line and receiver were the 2 positions. Since someone's left, A&M's been good at running back. I think I say this, people need to realize the freaking SEC. I'd say upper tier. It's crazy that I'm not going to say top shelf when Travion Williams led the league in rushing. You had Devon Achane, you had Isaiah Spiller, the guys you've got now, like Trey Carson, Keith Ford, the Travion Williams, Keith Ford thing, Kristen Michael, Trey Williams, and Ben Molina. Like, they've had a really nice run of running backs. I would say upper tier SEC. You're not going to that next level, right? I mean, is Achane the only one that's had like legitimate success in the NFL?
Yeah.
Like legit. Bama's probably got 10 of those guys. LSU's probably got a half dozen. Auburn's probably got a few. So Florida's got some. Georgia's got a ton. Upper tier, not top shelf. But receiver, they haven't gotten it done since someone left. Since they've been in the SEC, I think who have they had tight end wise? It's truly a playmaker. I would say obviously Jace and Weidemeyer for a minute. I don't know. He was very solid.
Yeah,
it's a very solid SEC tight end. But yeah, I think they need to get better at the skill spots. The biggest position where they've been lagging, and it ties into that, their cornerback situation, CB corner, not quarter. Cornerback situation has been miserable. For the most part of 13 years compared to other teams in this conference. 100%. You go around and look at the SEC. Did you just Luke Evangelist me?
100%.
100%. If you look around the league at like what other teams have at cornerback versus what A&M has done in 13, it's criminal. Hell, Texas came in here in year 1, had a Thorpe Award winner at corner and Jahdae Barron. You can't count the number of first rounders at Alabama, at LSU, Georgia. Everyone's got them. A&M has not. A&M, I think, has had 1, maybe 2 draft picks at corner in 13 years. That's changing. And Mike Elko came in and immediately said, we're changing that. And I think if you look at, Will Lee, Tyreek Chappelle, they're going to get drafted. Julian Humphrey, 10-game starter at Georgia last year. You go Des Ricks, someone they flipped, pulled away from Bama. That was a 5-star signee. And then you go into the signees from this past year that are true freshmen. And then you go into what he's got committed right now, headlined by Brandon Arrington. You see that thing is about to be night and day different. And I think this year at receiver, that's the position where they make the biggest jump. And if they go on and get Evan Jacobson today or this weekend at tight end, and you look at the future of that room, Colin Klein's about to make tight end a team strength. He's about to do it, signing someone like Keati Armstrong last year, and then what they've got put together this year at tight end. I think they're going to, this will be, a third commitment there. They're going to have a really nice room. So the tight end room, I think, is going to be elite beginning next year, and it's significantly improved this year.
All right, we'll hit a break. If your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, you need to check out the Association of Former Students that bring Aggies of all ages together during their awesome events that are held throughout the year. These marquee events include Aggie Ring Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo Gathering. They'll welcome tens of thousands of guests, and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. And they offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand, which includes title sponsorship naming, on-site presence, activation, recognition, social media posts, and much, much more. There's also advertising opportunities in both the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I know you want to talk about this, but let's do 25 and 25, presented by La Casa Tequila.
La Casa.
Raised in Aggieland, rooted in the SEC. Number 21 is Marco Jones.
Marco.
Polo.
That's what quarterbacks are going to be saying, hopefully.
Here comes Marco.
Don't do that, because if Olin gets wind of that, he's going to turn that into something.
He's listening right now.
I know.
He's going to come in here, tight shorts.
I'm surprised.
Actually, they're not tight.
Oh, and you hear that? Marco Jones is freaking stud. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Correct.
I'm not putting him yet in that, obviously Myles Garrett, Christian Kirk, but what I'm talking about are these true freshmen, and they were both 5 stars. Marco was not, but you remember what Mike Elko said on signing day? He was a 5-star in their mind. Mike Elko sat right here and said that is we had him as the number 1 ranked defensive end prospect in the country out of high school last year. By their board, they've scouted everybody. That guy's the best. They had to beat out, obviously, a real recruiting battle with Oregon to land him. You saw him in the spring game with the 6 sacks. That's what everyone talks about. I understand, you have to factor in and go, okay, who was he going against on that O-line, that split offensive line? Who were the guys he was going against? How many of those were actual sacks versus whistled? All that stuff, whatever. If you watched him and didn't see elite pass rush, I don't care if it would have been 6 real ones, if it would have been 2. If you watched him and didn't see elite pass rush talent, then you weren't watching the game. And you talk to all these offensive linemen when they come through here, and we talk to Armage about it a lot, and everybody's like, this guy, he's the real deal as a true freshman. And again, it's one of those highly regarded guys that gets on campus, and the day he steps foot, and like those guys before him that I mentioned, the work ethic is there. He's turning heads in the weight room. He's turning heads in off-season conditioning. And, oh, by the way, he's like 6'4", 250.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, he's athletic enough that I remember Bronny Zane and I were out watching baseball practice, and he's like, you see who that is? And I'm, first day I'm out there that he's practicing, I'm like, oh, God. He goes up there looking like, poor man's Aaron Judge at as big as he is. And which is crazy you say poor man's Aaron Judge, because Judge is like 6'8" and looks like a Hall of Fame tight end. But he's out there hitting bombs, like hitting home runs off A&M pitching. Having been out there for he was practicing spring ball. Then went out there, hit a home run or 2. The day we were out there, he made some layout diving catch in the outfield. And he's a defensive end. And he's not a edge guy. He's a defensive end. He's a future NFL defensive end draft pick. And his impact this year, I know it's going to be day one. What I wonder is, how long does a guy like that get kept out of the starting lineup? Because he is still a true freshman, and it is a position with some real depth. Not like it was a year ago with, you can sit here today and say, hey, there's 2 potential first rounders at N, and they did go first and second round. But Cassius Howell, Rylan Kennedy, they went out and got 3 defensive ends in the portal. But man, this is a guy that's going to be really tough to keep off the field. And if I had a true freshman that I would pick to have the biggest impact this season, it's Marco Jones.
Yeah, I think he's one, and this seems like Captain Obvious, but we'll see him, I think, quite a bit in the beginning, and I think we'll see him quite a bit towards the end of the year. It's kind of like we want to see him in these non-conference games kind of grow into the player he's going to be, and as the season goes on, I think he'll earn the trust of his teammates and the coaches to play even more significant minutes.
I mean, look, he's a different player than say, Colin Simmons or Dylan Stewart, right? But look at what they did last year.
Yeah.
At South Carolina and at Texas, respectively. Different, but same concept. I mean, this guy could be very impactful on this defense. He could be very impactful very early.
We'll hit a break with one final segment. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Back. And we're back. TexAgs Live.
But I did. I went to last night the Comedy Mothership, which was awesome. Who was out there last night? My crew over here from Notre Dame, Gillis and Tony
Hinchcliffe
performed. Rogan, obviously.
Was Rogan there?
Well, he was. It was so you know who.
Have you met him yet?
No, you know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's so he's the last act and the headliner, and then you don't know who anyone else is going to be.
Right.
So I've been a couple times. It's been Tony a couple times, but you don't know. I don't know if there's some underground way you can check, but I would rather not. You get surprised, and Gillis was one of the acts, so that was awesome.
Did you see Gillis? They asked him about, I don't know if you saw, maybe this is too inside comedy. They asked him on his the other podcast about his ESPYs performance, and he just had fun at Joy Behard's expense.
I need to watch.
Because Joy, he's like, if you laughed, then I would think that the comedy sucked.
Bad. Yeah, that's true. No, you are not the intended audience, Joy. No one on The View is the intended audience of anything funny ever.
This is exactly the truth.
Which is crazy because a couple of those people that have been through that show before have been funny in previous lives.
Whoopi?
Leading the charge.
Been a while.
You know?
Never found her
funny.
funny.
Was Sharon Osbourne on The View or was it Kelly?
Yeah. I think Sharon. I think they both were. They both did shows.
I just remember there's a clip of Kelly Osbourne that was
I don't know if I know that one.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But anyway.
Let's have Ambry Heath at the Angry Elephant.
Anyway, so driving home, and I told Nuño I got pulled over, and you're like, were you? No, I wasn't driving home. But I did have 2 empty cans of liquid death. And for those that don't know, that sounds like it's literal, actual water, but it's 2 empty white cans.
It's called liquid death?
You've never drank?
No.
They have.
That sounds like something I would stay away from them.
I buy it all the time at the gym.
They sell them at concerts.
Yeah,
very often.
It's awesome. I don't know why. Just ice cold, freezing cold water in a can to me just tastes really good. Anyway, I had 2 empty white cans of liquid death. I'm like,
never had that. It looks like a beer thing.
That's got to look suspicious. But yeah.
Ambry Heath.
So we're tired.
You want to tell the people what's happening this weekend?
Yes, preseason kickoff, which I asked for a glimpse of it and a rundown, and I got shamed. But
she explained the rundown and asked me to give her the rundown. Is when you talk to coaches and you get excited for the season. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
that's the rundown. That is it.
Coaches, people chatting. Preseason kickoff.
Who do you think will be there? Who do you think is going to be chatting?
Mike Elko.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Maybe is Michael Early going to be there?
Yeah.
Is it streamed live?
I think for paid premium subscribers. Who else will be there?
David Nuño and Billy Liucci.
Yeah. What about coaches?
I don't know what.
Bucky.
Oh, Bucky, he'll be there.
He'll be there.
Half a bing because she didn't say it.
Yeah. Let me just throw out a name at you.
Just come on.
Pat Henry.
I don't know who that is.
See, dude, stop this.
Sorry, my bad.
This is what we have a firing, ladies and gentlemen, at the social center. I'll let you slide on that since I don't even want to say. Well, since she did the "Do you even remember my name" trick, which backfired on her because I did remember.
No, you didn't.
You did not remember her name.
Oh, this is a track coach.
Yeah, you knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that. He's a national champion. Again, 10 times here at A&M.
Also a all-conference football player at A&M. Shorty, Pat Henry. You don't know that. Older brother of guy that you talked to last week at SEC Media Days, Mark Henry.
Oh, I did know that. We had Mark Henry here in studio.
Pat
That's
Henry.
right.
Aggies that were here in the early 90s, late 80s. Remember Pat Henry, defensive tackle. I remember when I was going into Needham Steed back in the day with all those guys. It was the old weight room, and you'd have the records. And it'd be like, I don't know what the lift was, if it was squat, power clean, whatever. Pat Henry, number 1. And you had a bunch of A&M and NFL badasses. They'd list like the top 5 or 6 in each lift,
Yep.
I used to like that. Now I think, that was because RC and what are you doing?
I just gave you the seconds. We have 30 seconds.
3?
30.
I just miss
Now
like
it's
the
less.
days when there wasn't as much turnover at coach, so then there's different strength coaches. There's different measures of weighing, measuring the 40 clocking things and different lifts. But it used to be just a standard squat, bench, power clean, 40, shuttle, vertical, and you could see all these iconic names.
We'll see on Monday and Luchador on Sunday. Bye.
Oh boy.